the craziness of Starbucks, the downfall and everything. I don't know. The CEO was just online talking about it and how they're gonna try to bring Starbucks back to its glory days. And let's listen to it and see what he has to say.
Finally, we got into a conversation about his plan to bring back the personal messages on cups.
We're going to get back to doing that. We're tracking down the Sharpies, and we're going to get back to, writing little notes on the cups. It may not be everybody's name because, but we will definitely be getting back to writing on cups again here in the not too distant future.
How many Sharpies do you have to buy?
I thought the number I heard was something like close to 200,000 Sharpies we got to track down.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it's not as simple as just going to the Staples and picking up some Sharpies, but that's the power of our scale.
Oh gosh, so I really missed those handwritten notes on my Starbucks cup. Did you guys miss that? Let me know below, because let's watch the rest of this interview.
A brewed cup of coffee, that's a highly profitable transaction. And we would be delighted to have more of those happening in our business. And oh, by the way, coffee, probably the best health and wellness drink you can have. Based on everything I've read and what I've learned more and more about being at Starbucks. So I think selling the idea that we are committed to coffee and educating people on what we do from the farm all the way to the moment it gets in your cup, I think is going to really excite people. The customization and making the coffee or the drink personally yours, that's something we're going to continue to do. But we are going to put some guardrails on some of the customization, because some of it, frankly, ruins the beverage, and it really ruins the experience for everybody involved. So we have to strike a balance to make sure we protect the integrity of the drink, right, the integrity of the experience.
Okay, so they're saying that they're going to limit all these drinks. And I feel like they're going to bring back that little bar, that little condiments bar where they used to say, hey, oat milk and normal milk was always out there, and you just kind of pour it however you want to, and then you just made your own coffee. But ever since around, I feel like 2000, mid 2000s, everybody started saying like, hey, and airlines did it too. And let me know if you noticed this. They're like, hey, we can get you from point A to point B, but then there's all these extra fees. So Starbucks did it with, hey, you want a coffee? Oh, you want a little bit of cream? Oh, you want a splash of vanilla? We're just going to charge you extra. And so the Starbucks coffee cup was like $4 or $5, and then all of a sudden there was these ads on, and all of a sudden your coffee ended up to be $8, $9. And people in the comments on my last video said they took away the condiment bar, and I said, yeah, they did, because they wanted to bring every customer up to $8, $9, $10 plus for a cup of coffee. That's just insane. So now they're trying to go back to the roots, and I'm just like, oh gosh. And it's funny because everybody else also is doing that. Hey, let's get the customer up to the maximum amount of money they can spend at one place. And that's how businesses goes, but it's in a deceiving way. With airlines, they do it when they say, oh, I can get you an airfare from Orlando to Miami, or I can get you from Miami to New York for $29. And then there's all these fees included. And then they're like, oh, you want assigned seats? Oh, upgrade. And if you want a seat assignment here, it's going to be $99. Oh, you have more than a carry-on item? It's going to be another $99. And so all of a sudden, you would have just been better off taking a better airline, because they just nickel and dime you everywhere. And so the nickel and diming is just what kills absolutely everything. And customers are tired of it, and they're showing it with their wallets. And so now, buying 200,000 Sharpies or whatever he said to fix the brand, to go back, that's not going to bring me back. That's not going to bring most of you guys back either, because it's just out of this world. Who's going to spend that much money, like $8, $9, on a cup of coffee just because they're going to have a handwritten note on it? That's not what I'm looking for. When I went to Starbucks, and I used to go all the time, and if a lot of you guys had it too, it was a nice ambiance. But now when I go to the places where I've been in San Francisco, there's bums sucking the Wi-Fi out and just laying out front. And you can't drink your coffee, or like, hey, let's have a coffee chat outside while there's some other random person sitting out front smelling like crazy, haven't showered in a week, and trying to just watch videos. It's like, oh man. And that's going to ruin the reputation. So then you're like, oh, let me just get it to go. and do all, let's just get it to go and be done with it. So it's just the whole thing that they need to revamp. They need to revamp their brand. They need to cater to people that don't want to spend $9 on it. And Starbucks is not a luxury brand. As much as they want to say, oh, we're the luxury brand and all that, and they wanted to charge way more money, they kind of backtracked really fast and saw that, hey, oh, people did not receive that very well. So let's reverse on that and say, hey, we're actually for everybody, and we're going to bring the Sharpies back. So, and I don't know, whenever the CEO comes out, if he's just like kind of awkward on camera, is that's his persona to kind of get the memes going, or if that's just him personally, I have no idea. But what he needs to do is make it affordable again, so people do not feel like you nickel and dime the hell out of them and gave them a semi-decent experience, and customers will come because their Starbucks is everywhere, and it can't be that it's $9 plus to drink a coffee, because if you're gonna have 4 or 5 people and like, hey, where do you want to meet? Oh, let's meet at a Starbucks. It's gonna be like $50-$60 for everybody. So it's just not feasible. And then they had all these Oleo drinks, and they're stopped doing that, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's just too much. And then the baristas get mad because then they're like, oh, these custom orders are killing us. But it's also what made him the most amount of money, because you heard him say that this is the most lucrative business, highly profitable. And everybody in the comment section of my last video said, hey, Starbucks is just way too expensive, and I can buy a coffee maker at home for 20 bucks on Amazon and buy beans and then just do it for myself, and I had nothing better. So now I'm asking, what other businesses are going to follow suit? Because when Starbucks is going to start have to cater to all these other people, like to customers that don't have that much money, there's a whole bunch of other people that are going to have way, way, way bigger problem than Starbucks, right? All these huge retail stores that have been not catering to their customers because nobody has money. In times like this, where money's tight, unemployment's high, you can't get jobs, it's tight. People don't go out eating, people don't have the money, and then you're gonna trying to say, hey, we're a luxury brand. That works really, really nice in good times. But now we're in these times where nobody has money. And so what do you save on? Dining out, experiences, and all these other things. And you're like, I can't do it. And so from a business perspective, you got to rule these people in. You got to give them an offer so they can't say no. And in my line of business, where I help people find jobs, and we help them with coaching, we help them with templates and all that kind of stuff, you need to remove the objection out of their head and say, hey, this is what you're going to do. So in my line of business, it's like, hey, most of the time I see what you tell me what you've been making. I say, hey, with the right coaching, with the right tools, we can probably get that pay bump to be above what the average is, right? So we can probably get $10,000, $15,000 more than what you're making right now. And so then you invest into $500, you make 10 grand, that's a huge return on your investment. So it's worth the money, right? But if you're a luxury item and it's not a necessity and the ROI isn't visibly shown, then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, it's probably not worth it. And then to top it all off, people go crazy and say, this ain't right. Why would I want to do that? But if the ROI is here, and this is like a testimonial right here, and from Allie's people that she coached on, and said, hey, you can get $50,000 more, a visible ROI. So it's a no-brainer. You remove the objection. But how do you remove an objection from people like that that are coming into your store and you're trying to part them from your money? And not everybody, some people just don't care about it. They can be broke and they just don't give a shit. And they're just like, I'll just pay my credit card down a little bit. And it's funny because on the way here, I heard the radio station giving out money to people. And they're like, hey, we'll give you $1,000. And then this guy called and says, really? I want $1,000? And she's like, yeah, you want $1,000. And so then they asked him, so what are you going to do with it? Pay off a few credit cards. And so the first thing for me from business owner mindset is, you're not going to do nothing paying off a few credit cards with $1,000. $1,000, that means, you mean you're going to keep the minimum payment going? How are you going to pay off a few credit cards with $1,000? That means you have few credit cards with $200 limits on it just doesn't really make sense. I don't know if it was too excited and said, hey, I'm just going to make the minimum interest or pay down on a few credit cards. But nowadays, everything's so expensive. So this is probably just one credit card that you're going to pay down, because $1,000 nowadays just isn't enough money to make the world shake, you know, for it to be like, oh my gosh, this is life changing. $1,000 is nice, but it's not for in the world that we're living in the United States, where you go fill up your car and it's almost $100+. What's $1,000 going to do? You fill up your car on Friday when you get paid. You go out to eat. It's another $100, so you're already out $200. And then you need another grocery. It's another $150, and you're almost out of the $1,000, because then you also need to pay utilities for internet. And my internet bill just came with another $150. And so then you want to go to Starbucks or any other place, and then it's another $10+. It just doesn't make financial sense anymore. It's just not. And when you're looking at all these guardrails that they're saying that, oh, we're going to put up some guardrails and something, those were the most profitable customers for you. If you got people to spend $11, $12 per drink, that is what you want as a business, because then you get the cost per customer up, means more profits. Because if the barista is adding a little pumps of vanilla, a little pumps of chocolate, and drizzle caramel over it, that's a $3 add-on, right? Because everything's $1 now, everything's $1. So how do you do it? You just gotta be really, really aware of what you spend and what you keep. And now, the best thing that you can do as a business owner is say, hey, where can I go back to the roots? Where can I go, and where is my business, like the root core, and kind of build on that. And so then you increase profit margins. But the first thing that you got to do is figure out, why do my customers come in? And a lot of people get all that wrong. Some people think they come in for one reason, but then they leave, but then they come in for a whole nother one, right? And so it's absolutely crazy to see all these people misjudging what their customers really, really want. And we're going to see if the Starbucks CEO knows what their customer really, really wants, because he might make decisions that are going to alienate a lot of these people that want these super expensive frappuccinos. And some of you guys actually said this Gen Zers are actually loving these $8, $9 frappuccinos, and that's what they go for. And so if you're going to alienate all these people and say, oh, that's not going to happen, that's not going to be good, then what's next? Bankruptcy, right? And you restructure your debt and you kind of move on. But you just got to be really, really aware of what your customers want and how to do it. That's why I always say your product needs to be good, your location needs to be good, and your customer service needs to be good. If you're lacking some of the threes, you're not going to be making it in this world. And when you're looking at customer service, Starbucks always had pretty good customer service. And they always say, hey, if you don't like your drink, we'll remake it for you. That's a huge plus. Locations, they're everywhere. And yeah, and the product is pretty decent. You know, coffee, it's not rocket science, right? You can get a bad cup of coffee, but that's where you go to like a Wendy's or something else where they just pour it over one of these strip systems and it's like lukewarm because it's been sitting on a pot for half a day. But yeah, it is crazy to think about what they're doing and how they're doing it. And so it's sad to see. It's sad to see all these people. Then if they can't do that, then they're gonna have to lay people off because they just can't do it. And now we're gonna see, and it's like, oh, we gotta educate the consumer. Why do you want to educate people? It's like you have your flagship stores, and yeah, you can have a little history of it, but people just want coffee, hang out with their friends, and good internet. So what I'm saying. But yeah, I could be wrong because I haven't read all these betas and all that stuff that they did and get their mobile app to be better and all that kind of other stuff. So I don't know. We'll see what's going to happen, but it's definitely going to be an interesting ride. And yeah, I mean, I got one story though about customer service. So I went to Vineyard Vines the other day to buy some shirts because I really like it. And so I wrote him an email about the rude customer service manager. And I said to somebody, and I said to my aunt actually, like, you know, I complained to their customer service manager, to the hotline, not because I want money back or like a coupon or anything else. That's not why I did it. I did it because honest feedback from customers is worth more than any price you can put on items. So if you get an upset customer that says, "Hey, that manager really pissed me off because of this and this," it is priceless to get that information. Because guess what? You're not going to remember, as a customer, you're not going to remember the manager, but what you're going to remember is that store that has that shitty manager in it. And you're like, nah, I'm not going to shop at this store anymore. I'm not going to shop at this place because of my experience. And so it's really important, especially if you have a bunch of stores, to keep the customer happy and to weed them out. If you got to pay your employees more, do it, because you have the money. So hire better employees, pay them more money so they actually represent your brand in a way, and not just on ads, on social media and online. No, it starts and ends at the stores. If the store customer service phenomenal, they'll come back. But if you're gonna ruin it at the store level, you're just done. So they asked me, "Hey, really bad experience. Let's chat about it." So I said, "Yeah, cool. Let me get a phone number, and we're gonna see, and I'm gonna keep you updated," because it's just so bad when these stores fail. And yeah, some of it has to do with customer service. Some people should not be in customer service, and that's all right. Not everybody's meant to do customer service. It's a hard job. It's not that glorious, and it doesn't pay that well, but it's needed. And so till AI can all do it, we're just stuck with that. So if you like this video, follow me on LinkedIn. If you're looking for a job, follow me on LinkedIn. Here's my profile. Go shoot me a follow. Let's connect. Let's chat. And if you like this video, like and subscribe. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. So thank you. And I will see you in the next one.